What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Celtics Daily with me, Mike Zakarian, as we continue to dive into Boston's NBA offseason. And it got spicy yesterday as the Celtics were wheeling and dealing. I said just a couple of days ago, it was too quiet. It was just a little too quiet. And then Brad, I don't know, heard the whispers and then started cooking. So we got a lot to get into. Two moves that they made, plus a potential third move that's in the works right now based on everything that we've seen. And then we'll get into your comments as we always do. But as always, if this is your first time hanging out with us here at the Celtics Daily, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. We're creeping up on 1,900 subscribers, almost at 2,000. And that's, algorithmically speaking, makes my heart heavy. No, not heavy. It makes it feel good. You know who might not feel good? Georges Niang, guys. Georges Niang, the minivan, the pride of Lawrence, Massachusetts, who was involved in the Kristaps Porzingis trade. Well, he was a member of the Boston Celtics for 43 days. I don't believe he got on the court one time with the Boston Celtics. However, I did see him in Summer League. He was at Summer League hanging out with Luka Garza and some other new Beantown boys. However, he is now heading into the Mountain Territory, the Mountain Time Zone, the Utah Jazz. I think that's Mountain Time, right? But he's going to be over there. There was also a comment from Niang's camp that Danny Ainge and the Utah organization had talked to Niang. This isn't like a one-stop shop where he's going to go. I mean, it's not. He's not getting moved immediately after this. I kind of initially when I saw it, it looked like he'd go to Utah and then Utah would move him somewhere else. But I believe Niang actually spent some time in Utah with the Jazz early in his career. And they're going to have him be like the veteran presence and stay there. But let's focus on the Celtics. So the Celtics trade Niang and 2 future first-round picks to the Utah Jazz for the rookie R.J. Lewis Jr. Now, R.J. Lewis Jr. is a St. John's guy. I believe he's 22 years old. He's on a 2-way contract. So interestingly enough about this, that he does not actually take up the roster spot. So remember, the Celtics were already one roster spot shy, right? So they were at 15. So when this deal was made, they actually went down, they were at 14. Then they go down to 13 after they make this move because R.J. Lewis being a 2-way contract does not count as one of the main 15. Now, him being a 2-way contract raises a couple of questions with the next move that happens. One of them being, what are they doing with Amari Williams? So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they're out of 2-way contracts now because they gave one to Max Sugar. Is there another one? I can't remember, but Max Sugar, the second-round pick, I don't think they have space for another one, which means one of two things. Either Amari Williams is going to get signed and just stay with Boston, or he's going to find himself on another team, which is a very peculiar move from Boston if they're not going to keep him. Because if you think about it, They traded out of that pick. Remember the second round, at the beginning of the second round, we thought they were going to get Ryan Cockbrenner, who ended up going to the Charlotte Hornets, and he's going to be their starting center. And then they also didn't get Maxime Renaud, who could have been a starting center, who ended up going to Sacramento, I believe. So to pass and trade out on both of those guys, to then not keep one of them, a little surprising. So we'll have to pay attention to see what they do with R.J. Lewis Jr. and with Amari Williams as well. I also should say, this is not attaching 2 second-round picks as well. Boston's slowly running out of second-round picks. I think I have it saved here, but they only have a handful of left. Here we go. This is according to Bobby Manning of CNLS Media. He said the Celtics are running low on second-round picks. Remember, they did not receive the 2 picks from the Portland Trail Blazers that they were initially reported to get in that Drew Holiday deal. Remember, they revisited the deal, and then the 2 picks came out. So they had, prior to today, they had 26 second-round picks from Portland, from the Knicks, from the Timberwolves, from the Pelicans. Oh, wait, that's 1 pick. Excuse me. So they have, either the best or the worst of a 2026 second-round pick between Portland, the Knicks, Minnesota, and New Orleans. So they get 1 pick out of that crew. Then they get another pick, the worst one, out of Miami and Indiana. Then they have a 28 pick. They have a 31, 32, a 33, and then the 31 from Cleveland, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 7 second-round picks, but 2 of those are going to Utah. So from 26 to 2033, I believe they have 5 second-round picks left. And so we know they're still trying to cut salary. Now, it does seem like one more move is going to be going down here. I will get to that in our third cryon, but that was kind of the initial move here. And as we get to the second move, I will just say, like, listen, I don't know. There was a great joke that I saw on Twitter yesterday, and I want to make sure I give credit where the credit is due here. And this is from Karan K Singupta says. Brad saw those Peyton Pritchard quotes and realized we're not tanking hard enough, because that is what it felt like, right? And for those that forgot, yesterday's video, we talked about it. Peyton Pritchard came out and said, like, well, we're in Boston. Like, the goal is to win championships, essentially, is what he said. And so the joke, right, that Brad was like, uh-oh, we're not bad enough yet. So to send Yang out there and, like, you look at what now, again, they made another move, so we'll talk about it. But we don't have any power forwards, guys. We don't have any power forwards. I mean, technically we have centers, but not really. So it is looking rough over there. So anyways, because RJ Lewis Jr. we didn't see him as a prospect. We weren't like, oh, we're getting RJ on the cheap. We need to get him out there. I don't think he's going to play at all. I mean, he will play in Maine, but not for Boston. And then again, to get off 2 second-round picks, this was just clearly a salary-saving thing. So the tank is on. The tank is on right now, unless Brad does one thing that we'll talk about in a little bit. But let's get to the second move that happened right after that I actually thought was a pretty solid move. It was funny watching the reaction of everybody, because I think people might be unfamiliar with Chris Boucher's game, but Chris Boucher was the last reigning member of the Toronto Raptors championship ring. So he's got championship culture, championship caliber player. Toronto big man, spent most of his career in Toronto. He is now coming over to Boston. Now, we get him on a vet minimum, too. I believe it's 3.3 million, something like that. I am a fan of his game, mainly from, like, the fantasy side of stuff. He does not get a ton of run. So last season he played 50 games for the Raptors. It's hard to judge the Raptors like what they did last year, because if you weren't paying attention to Toronto, which most people weren't, back half of the year, they were resting guys all the time to try to tank, and then they would start their guys, but they'd only play like 20 minutes a game. It was very bizarre. But Boucher here, he is 32. Again, he played 50 games last year. He averaged 10 points, 4 boards. He actually can, like, shoot the three a little bit. He's a career 33% shooter from three. That's not good, but 36 this past season, which is solid. Like, we'll take that from him. And I think he immediately becomes the starting 4, right? I think. So just to throw some numbers at you here, he was a 6th man of the year candidate back in 2021, where he averaged over 13 points a game, 6 boards as well. But I really do think he becomes like a steal and block king when given the minutes. Because if you do look at his minutes, right, he only averaged 17 a game last season, 14 before that, 20 before that, 21 before that. So he hasn't been given, like, a ton of run, but he will in Boston. And what's kind of wild about this is, like, he'll get a ton of run whether they're trying to win or trying to lose, I think, because, one, he's a vet min. It's not like he's on a long deal or anything like that. You're not saving him for anything. But we, like, literally don't have anybody. The starting 5 right now, because Niang was projected to be a starting power forward. So after this deal, right, and they still have one roster spot open, but as we've said before in previous videos, they tend to go into camp one shy and then try to add somebody else. So me personally, I think this kind of shuts the Ben Simmons thing down. They use their vet min on Chris Boucher. Sounds like the Simmons will go to the Knicks. That's my take anyways. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But they're starting 5 right now. I mean, you're looking at well, actually, I think I have the Bobby Marks tweet that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, the updated roster. So this is what he projects. He says Derek White, Anthony Simons, Jaylen Brown, Chris Boucher, and Nehemias Queta. That's our 5. That's our starting 5. Now, I actually still think Pritchard will start over Simons. Let's wait and see what happens, okay? Then our the non-guaranteed partially guaranteed guys that we have coming off the bench. Mentioned Pritchard. You got Hugo Gonzalez and Baylor Shireman. And then you also have Sam Hauser. You've got Josh Minot. You've got Jordan Walsh still there, Xavier Tillman, Luka Garza. Now, what the Celtics did do by these moves, which is just kind of nuts, their projected salary now is $199.9 million, okay? So the tax threshold is $187.8 million, which, for you math dorks, that's $12 million. So if they cut $12 million more dollars, they're completely out of the tax, completely out of it. The second apron is at $207.8 million, so they're already cleared of that. But the first apron is 195.9. So they're only $4 million shy of the first apron, which we have to keep in mind because there's like you don't get this low in salary with the moves that you've made just to still be over the first apron, to still be over the tax. So there is no way Boston does not make another move here. I wanted to shout out one more Bobby Marks tweet that I think I bookmarked. For you guys don't know, Bobby Marks is just like the math guy from ESPN. He's like really good with the contract stuff. So this is the other thing. As of June 15th, okay? June 15th, when Porzingis was still on the team, Holiday was still on the team, right? The Celtics projected salary and the luxury tax. So the salary of the squad plus being over the tax, what that would have cost them, it would have cost $540 million as of June 15th, okay? In less than 2 months. In less than 2 months, they essentially whacked off. We got to come up with a better term than whacked off. There's a huge pause there. $300 million. They're now at $239 million. It's just, and again, I appreciate the positivity. I've tried to talk myself into it too. This is not a team trying to win basketball games this season. And they can tell us they want to compete all they want. Brad can get behind the microphone in a press conference and say, I'm going to do what's best for this organization. We're going to win, 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 win. That's not Brad. That was closer to like a Red Auerbach than anything else. Actions speak louder than words. You know what I'm saying? That's like this is a weird looking roster. I mean, that five that I said, I mean, who was that five beating? Charlotte? Brooklyn? Who else? Who else is that? Like, one more time. White, Simons, Brown, Boucher, Keita. We don't have anybody that can guard a guy over 6'5". We don't have anybody that can play defense. Even on the bench, we'll see what we've got with Hugo. We'll see what we got with Minot. I mean, we're going to get a run. And I honestly, again, I keep going back and forth. I think this is the right thing to do this year without Jason Tatum. This also indicates to me there's no need for Tatum to come back in February or March if he's ready to go. Like, just let him chill. Put him on ice. Let him hang out. Get some golf in, JT. I don't think Jaylen Brown's going to play over 70 games. I don't think Derek White's going to play over 70 games. The way I could see them getting to 65 is, if you recall, in order to qualify for any of the end-of-season awards, like All-NBA, MVP, Sixth Man of the Year, Defensive Team, all that stuff, you need to play at least 65 games. So we'll see. But, man, the way this you just think about it. You go up against, Karl Anthony Towns, even Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson would destroy this team on the glass. Mobley and Allen. Anybody in the West, Zubac, Jokic. I guess nobody has anybody to defend Jokic, but Giannis, we don't have anybody to defend a 4 or a 5. And again, I still think, we just did the numbers, right? They're going to make another move. For sure they're going to make another move. And so I would, again, be stunned if Anthony Simons is still on this team come the trade deadline. If, say, one of Anthony Simons or Sam Hauser will be on a different team by the trade deadline. There's just no way. There's no way you pay the tax for that starting 5. You can't. You can't do it. To answer the two-way question, by the way, I found it as we were talking. Yeah, so you get 3 two-way contracts. The Celtics have offered them to Miles Norris, who Summer League standout, also a teammate of R.J. Lewis Jr. So there you go, some St. John's love. And then Max Sugar is the third one. So Norris, Lewis, and Max Sugar. So that means Amari Williams, they either really like and they plan on signing, or that second-round pick is going to be on a different team next year. That's where we're at, boys and girls. That's where we're at. I want to give Dan Greenberg a little credit here because he was trying to spin this into some positive news here. He was trying to spin it into some positive news. So let me go back to my bookmarks. Dan Greenberg of, I believe, Barstool, right? Of Barstool. He said, what if Brad's target requires Simons to be aggregated, the Simons contract to be aggregated, which can't happen until September 7th. Because there's certain players that can't be moved, can't be dealt until after the 7th. One of them being Bam Bam Bigelow, Bam Adebayo. And normally I don't put a lot into that. They were teammates for Team USA. They've got a good rapport together. But there was also a report that came out yesterday that teams around the league are monitoring Tyler Hero's situation in Miami. This is per Brett Siegel in the NBA. Tyler Hero becomes eligible for a 3-year extension worth near $150 million with Miami in October before the start of the 25-26 season. This is a situation teams are keeping an eye on, as Riley has always been cautious about giving out extensions, like Jimmy Butler. Remember, we saw that. A decision to extend or not to extend Hero will tell the tale of how the Heat view themselves in the East. So I think by monitoring that situation, maybe we're also monitoring the Bam Adebayo situation, and that would answer a lot of the questions that we have going into not necessarily this season, but the following season, right? Because there's still no path forward right now to get a good big guy in there. There's none. So I don't know. Just I think we should continue to monitor the news here because the Celtics, sometimes you guys get mad at me in the chat where you're like, these are all rumors and speculation. Yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot of that though because it is so clear. I mean, like they can tell us whatever they want, but we did the math. We already saw the math, right? The money tells the story there where the Celtics just. It would be irresponsible for this team that has already lobbed off, much better than whacked off, $300+ million of this salary and roster, right? And so to get all the way down and then just be a small $12 million from the tax and $4 million from the first apron, it unlocks our roster flexibility for next season when you truly have a championship caliber team when Tatum comes back. So. The Celtics aren't done cooking. Brad's going to have another move. Let me know how you guys feel about all of this. I mean, the news kind of came in like a wrecking ball. Shout out Miley Cyrus one time. But because like the Niang deal happened, and I think it was like 4 minutes later, because I made a joke on Twitter that I was going to be the new starting power forward for the Boston Celtics. Then like 2 minutes later, Chris Boucher came out. The other thing I wanted to say, I made one other comment before I get to your comments. Once this trade happened, I made the joke that the Boston Celtics starting five in October is going to look like Pritchard, Derek White, Brown, Boucher, and Queta. And then I said the Celtics starting five in March is going to look something like Pritchard, Simons, Hugo, Baylor, Shireman, and Luka Garza. I think that is where we're going to be at. And maybe not Simons because he'll be on another team. But in that scenario, Sam Hauser's on another team. Let's get into your comments from yesterday, but before we do me a favor, let's hit that subscribe button. That's just a nice little reminder. Appreciate the support as we've been growing. Keep the comments coming. Makes the show fun. Makes the show fun every day. All right, let's start with AJB. So we talked a little bit about Giannis Antetokounmpo yesterday. He said if Giannis gets moved, which is, rumors, speculation, the direction of the Bucks would completely change. Maybe Miles Turner becomes available. The money works with a Simon-centered deal. That's interesting because I'm sure Miles Turner would be a little peeved that he was sent to Milwaukee to potentially compete, but maybe I think Miles was more excited about getting the bag that he got from the Bucks since the Pacers weren't offering. But I don't know if there are restrictions or stipulations on like being traded so soon after signing. Like sometimes you have to wait until like either January 15th or the following season. But I do think Miles Turner is somebody like that is probably an elite fit for the Celtics. I think his defense has fallen off a little bit, but he's a stretch five, right? Can shoot the ball and defend well enough, protect the rim, and so he fits perfectly with what Joe Mazzulla likes to do. And I think not being like a first or second option is pretty important at this point in Miles Turner's career. But listen, I'm usually not a Miles Turner fan. I thought his postseason up until the NBA Finals was really, really strong. And I think it's also like fair to not have a good NBA Finals against the Thunder because the Oklahoma City Thunder, one of the best defenses we've seen in the last like 10 years. But great point by AJB. We got to keep an eye on Miles Turner. We've got Best Lex Luthor 7596, very topical with the new Superman movie out. We talked about the 76ers a little bit yesterday. He says the Sixers have Tyrese Maxey and Edgecombe. I'd throw Jared McCain in there too. He said, I'd dump Embiid for whatever they can and move on. It's not fair. People are jerks to injured players. It's not their fault, but I think it's better they try to move on. Some people just get betrayed by their bodies. I do think that's fair. I think sometimes Embiid puts his foot in his mouth and says stuff that kind of exacerbates the situation a little bit, but I agree. It's hard to hold injuries against people. They want to be out there. Embiid obviously wants to be out there. Think about like Darius Garland, right? And everybody was giving him crap in the playoffs, and then he comes back and he plays, and he doesn't look great. And it's like, yeah, no kidding. He needed surgery. But yeah, the issue with Embiid, man, is he's under contract for like the next 4 or 5 years, I think, at like 50+ million every year. I don't know who's like, give me that, especially because it sounds like he's not going to be ready to start this season. So I hear you, but I think the Sixers would be open to that if they could get something back, but We'll see. And last but not least, Ken Westbrook's 847. Hey, where's Russell going, Ken? But his question was, there's nobody in the East to be afraid of. And listen, Ken, I agree with you, but I'd also put the Celtics on that list. I don't think anybody's looking at that Celtics roster being like, whoo, put that like LeBron meme in there, right? Yeah, nobody's looking at that and saying watch out for those Celtics. But I do agree. That's why I think you focus on 26-27. Get everybody right. Get the books right. Go get a center. Go get Bam. And then let's go get a chip next season, 26-27. Just relax this year, relax this year. Hope everybody has a good day. We'll be back tomorrow with some more Celtics Daily stuff. Keep the eye on the prize. Brad's going to be out there cooking. Let's cook with him.